Hello, dear listeners. My name is Efendieva Elnara. I am a lecturer at the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. The topic of this lecture is research as an important way of knowing and history of science. Lecture was prepared by Yelemesa Kirki. First of all, we will say what is the research. Research is the process of sampling new knowledge, one of the types of cognitive activity, by Savinkov. Research always presupposes the prevalence of a certain problem, a certain contradiction, a wide spot that needs to be studied and explained. This definition by Belich. Research is the broadest sense a search for new knowledge or systematic investigation in order to establish facts. Research is the process of studying something. As a result of the research, we can see a scientific work or a document with description of the studied object. Research as a multiple systematic strategies. Experimental study refers to the type of research that is based on empirical predictions and hypothesis testing. Naturalistic research refers to a wide range of research approaches aimed to understanding and interpreting human experience in its context. The mixed type of research is a relatively new approach to obtaining data analysis and interpretation. There are three sets of studies in our definition. Experimental research is different from other types of research because the purpose of the study and its methods depend on a researcher and the solutions that are set for the experiment. For example, questionnaires, surveys, observation. Second is naturalistic research. It's creative work aimed to observation and qualitative description of a phenomenon. They may have an element of scientific novelty. A distinctive feature is the lack of a correct research methodology. For example, projection tests, focus groups, in-depth interviews. In mixed type of research is the parallel use of qualitative research and quantitative research. On this slide, you can see a graphic representation of four basic criteria of scientific research: logical, confirmed, understandable, and useful. Logical means is certainly consistency and validity. It must be logically connected, internally consistent, and ambiguous. For example, the purpose of the study should be logically related to the objectives of the study. Understandable. It means that your research should be understandable to others who will use it for practical purposes. For example, the study should be written in clear language in clear terms. Confirmed. It means that your research should be confirmed by empirical material, clearly proven facts to draw a conclusion. For example, research methods should be well described in others to repeat the study if it's necessary. Useful. It means that the information from your research can be used in some situation and will help to make a decision. For example, information should have practical value. The second component of our definition of the research is related to the process of thinking and activity. There are three kinds of this: inductive, deductive, and abductive. Inductive is a movement of simple to complex, from particular judgments to general conclusion. Such a process of thinking is characteristic of experimental or other quantitative studies. In the deductive, from general judgment to a particular conclusion. This type of thinking is typical for naturalistic or qualitative research. Abductive, from private to private. For example, getting detailed information about the current problem. At this page you see methods of scientific knowledge. The general logical methods are analysis, synthesis, induction, deduction. Analysis is the composition of the whole into parts. Synthesis, combining parts into a single whole. Induction, transition from a single to the general. Deduction, from general to singular. Analogy, comparison of number of phenomena and objects to identify their similarities or differences. On this slide, you will see the main characteristics of inductive thinking: the ability to generalize, the ability to draw a conclusion, the ability to create rules, the ability to find a trend, the ability to predict, the ability to make an abstract or summary. These all relate to naturalistic or qualitative research. Let's look at an example. It known that the number of children with speech disorders has increased. Researchers wondered what is the reason for this. To formulate hypotheses, the researchers lacked information about the causes of speech disorders. Naturalistic study was conducted. Researchers invited women with children with confirmed diagnosis of speech disorders and interviewed these women. During the conversation, it was found that most women had gynecological disease during pregnancy. Hypoxia developed in the fetus in the last trimester. Women experienced an increased level of stress through their pregnancy. After childbirth, women also experienced an increased level of anxiety. Thus, after collecting of data, the scientists formulated a research hypothesis and were able to plan a study. The following are the main characteristics of deductive thinking: the ability to classify, the ability to highlight details, the ability to find exceptions, the ability to make a justification, the ability to develop a topic, the ability to ask clarifying questions. These all relate to experimental research. 7 reasons to learn about research process. There are many important reasons why you should understand the research process and participate in research activities. First is systematically build knowledge and test treatment efficacy. Second, have an impact on health policy and service delivery. Third, participate in research activities. Next one, enhance understanding of daily practice. Then become a critical consumer of research literature. Next one, understand the method of clinical trials and apply this knowledge to professional practice. Then apply the precisions of research to all professions' thinking and actions. Which process is not research? When there are accidental violations, incorrect rules or activity are fulfilled, when goals and objectives are unconscious. Now we answer the question, why is research necessary and useful? First, it is a tool for accumulating knowledge. Second, this is a way to prove and lie and support the trust. And third is solve problems and help make decisions. Methods of scientific knowledge. Depending on the level of knowledge, there are methods: empirical, theoretical, meta-theoretical. The empirical level is a reflection of external science, sites of connections. Obtaining empirical facts, their description and systematization. For example, observation, interview, survey, testing. The theoretical level of scientific knowledge is the development of mental models of the process under study. Analysis, synthesis, abstraction, induction, deduction, idealization refers to the theoretical level. For example, given an idea of the subject. The meta-theoretical level is a more general level of scientific knowledge compared to the empirical and theoretical levels. The meta-theoretical level is the is internally connected with them and in the process of the development of scientific knowledge and is concretized for each scientific theory. And now let's talk about the emergence of science and its main stages of development. In historical evolution, we can say about ancient Oriental, ancient science, medieval European, New European classical, non-classical science, post-non-classical science. Ancient Oriental features sacral caste character, direct connection with practice. Ancient science features theoretical, systematic, logical evidence, independence from practice. Medieval European humanities, religious dogmatism, theologism, and here we can say about Thomas Aquinas. New European classical. Here we can say about Galileo Galilei and Johannes Kepler. For this time, we can say about naturalism, objectivity, objectiveness. Non-classical science features mass character, creation of the industrial sector of science, scientific and technical revolution, scientific and technical policy. And post-non-classical science features global and super complex nature, the basis of an innovative economy, one of the priorities of national development. Extra scientific knowledge. It can include everyday knowledge. It is not carried out purposefully in the process of committing everyday actions by person. Next one is religious knowledge, based on religious texts. Next one, mythological knowledge, based on myths. Parascience, a complex of practical knowledge about the world that does not pertain to the ideal of scientific rationality. Example, traditional medicine. Then, pseudoscience, a set of beliefs about the world mistakenly regarded as based on scientific methods. Example, astrology, numerology, palmistry. Next one, quasi-scientific knowledge, seeks supports and adherence using violence and coercion. And anti-scientific knowledge, utopian and deliberately distorting ideas about reality. Scientific research related to practice is divided into fundamental and applied. Fundamental aimed at scientific discoveries, for example, the development of a new cancer drug. Applied practical implementation of the results of fundamental branches of science, for example, research on the necessary condition and dosages of prescribing drugs. And now our lecture is over. Thank you for your attention.